Welcome to Alien Invasion Gaming. My name is Roy, and in this video we'll take a look at Prapor's task, Regulated Materials. Let's get started. Regulated Materials is one of the last sort of collection tasks for Prapor, and comes up after Polycom Hobo. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Regardless, it's one of the last collection tasks, and for me, I found it a very annoying collection task. You have to collect 1 tank battery in raid and 10 tank shells, or what's called the 10x 30 millimeters. They show up actually in game, I think, as OFZ shells. But regardless, the only place that they spawn regularly is on reserve. So I'm going to show you on reserve where the various spawn points are. But before I do that, I do want to let you know that you can also get these out of some caches, the barrel caches, the wooden caches. Sometimes scavs will spawn with them on their loot tables, but it's a fairly rare occurrence. And so, if you're looking to get this task done relatively quickly, then you're going to want to farm reserve. Now, when I say relatively quickly, I think it took me 30 reserve runs to get all this material. If you definitely can do it with a Red Rebel and a paracord, I know it's fairly early in 12.6, maybe a lot of people don't have that, but the Red Rebel and the paracord make it a lot easier to get out with this material. Certainly the tank battery, you're not going to be able to get out with the manhole cover extract unless you're using the, I think it's called the Eclipse Secure, Epsilon Secure, which is a 2x4. So the tank battery will fit inside the Epsilon Secure container, but you don't get the Epsilon Secure container until you go down quite a few other paths of tasks. So maybe difficult to get it. Either way, tank shells are easier. You can use the manhole cover. You can just stick it in your rig and extract. But the tank battery, Red Rebel would be ideal, or the Epsilon Secure container. All right, let's take a look at the actual map, and we'll talk about the various locations. The map we're looking at is one of the many maps available on the Escape From Tarkov official wiki under the reserve map section. I'm using the 3D map just because I think it gives a little bit better depth of definition. Basically, the shells and the tank batteries, well, mostly the shells. I'll talk about the tank batteries separately, but the shells are going to spawn around tanks and in air raid vehicles, in repair centers where they repair tanks, for example. And if we just take a look at this map, here's Dome for reference. If you start in the right side, there is a tank on the road where one can spawn. And I'll take a visual run through the map just to show what it looks like from within Tarkov itself. But if we just take a look at the map, it's basically from this tank here through all of the bunkers and the static tank emplacements, through the garage, which has the armory here, and then the repair section here, the repair center here, go all the way over behind the pawn buildings to not this bunker here that I have the cursor on. It doesn't actually, it's not open, so it doesn't spawn. But then tank placement here, a air raid shelter here, another tank spot here. It doesn't have a tank, it just has loose items. Broken down tank here, and then a tank here on the road can spawn it. And then the last spot on this circuit is this tank here. If you go in as a scav, because that's also a viable choice, typically what I would do is I would either, if I started on the left side of the map, I would start with this tank and then work my way clockwise through until I got to this tank. And then if I didn't, regardless if I found something or didn't find something, I would then hit the closest extract, either CP fence, or if I had to backtrack all the way to hole in the wall on the left, I would. And if I started on the right side in the scav area here, then I would just work counterclockwise, hit all these items and placements, and then I would extract that heating pipe or the hole in the wall, depending upon what extracts I had. So there are basically, 10 to 12 sort of different spawn points that you can have for the shells and to a lesser degree the tank batteries. Let's take a look in game now. If I just run from counterclockwise from the tank on the right, I'm going to take us all the way around to the other tank on the bottom of the map. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we're at the tank on the right side. The train station is behind me. You can see Dome in the middle of the map. And so this is the first sort of location. Basically, a shell can spawn around here. Then go through the fence. Go through the next hole in the fence. You're going to go up to the next tank. You're going to want to take a look at both the ground as well as the tables. So, for example, on this table here in front of us, haven't seen anything spawn over here. You can check in these crates sometime for loose items. There's a sugar. This is an offline raid, so I'm not picking anything up. There's a food ration crate that if you still need cigarettes, there are cigarette spawns in this crate as well. And then next up, we're going to check the air raid shelter. And again, I'm going to look in these boxes. Going to check here at the oil can, air oil barrel. Here on these crates. Here on these crates. And here, for example, is a shell. The OFC shell. So this is where you, like, just a random loose spawn. Another spawn location is here in the corner. And I don't think I've seen anywhere else in there. Next, we're going to check the next tank. So typically behind tanks is the primary area to check, but if there's any tables around the tank, so check there, check here. Anywhere you see like a food or a weapon item spawn, typically around a tank, has, I believe, an opportunity to spawn a shell. We're now going to check the Camo air raid shelter. So check around these crates. Check over here. You can see there's a helix and a motor. Check here. See where these weapon parts are. So sometimes a shell will spawn here. Check the tables. Check here. Check this table. Mostly tools on these shelves. Never seen a shell spawn there. Let's move into the first repair center. Through the fence. Okay, so first on the right, there is a locked door that leads to an armory. It's in the last sort of set of bays, right here. Fuel spawn around these gas barrels, by the way. So I believe that this is RBST. Yep, RBST. I'll talk about keys more at the end of the video. Now over here on these pallets, a tank battery can spawn. On this table, a shell can spawn. I also got my last shell back on, I believe, one of these crates. No, it was right here. It was these pallets. So make sure you check all of the pallets and the crates. We're now going to move into the repair center itself. There are 2 locked doors that we will check, as well as loose spawns. So if you come in here, I believe this is the MP13 key. Let's just see. 13 on the left, so let's unlock it. Yep, 13. So sometimes a tank battery can spawn here in the corner. There's also loose loot that will spawn here on the shelves. Nothing ever sort of revolutionary, but it's worth taking a look at. There's some tool spawns here if you need a tool. I have had a lot of success with this table here, these 2 tables. Tank battery and shells have spawned both on these tables, and you don't actually technically need a key in order to get in there. All right, we're going to move across now to the next repair center. Oh, sorry. I missed a room in here. On the second floor, which you have to get to from the roof, so take the stairs up, go all the way to the top. Go on the roof. You want the hole in the roof that's over here on the left side of the roof. You can jump in. And then for this one here, I believe this one is the 2-1. Either 2-1 or 2-2. It's 2-2. So that's the 2-2 key. So in here, tank batteries can spawn. You can also get weapon spawns in these racks. You do get various gun attachments here spawning on the, oh, nice scope, on the silencer, on the shelving. So feel free, you know, take a look at those too before, as you're swinging through. All right, now let's go over to the other item. Here, I'm just gonna jump through the window, jump onto the barrels and the tires here, and that way you won't hurt yourself when you jump out the window. We're gonna go across. We're gonna go to the second floor directly. This will be the, I think the other 2 whatever room. 2-2? Anyway, it's the graded door here. So the 2-1 key. RBMP21. Again, lots of loose attachments here on the shelves, on the tables. Also, you can see there is gun spawns. And you can sometimes get an intelligence folder on the top of that cabinet. There are some ammo and other spawns here in the corner, but more importantly, usually there's a tank battery. Not usually, sometimes there's a tank battery in this room for you to take. Okay, let's go back downstairs. Now, there might be another loose spawn for a shell down here. I've never seen it though, but there are typically gun parts on this table, and typically there are ammo and other gun parts that will spawn in these crates right next to it. I've never seen a shell, but it's always worth checking. Okay, I'm going to move across now to the other side of the map. The left side of the map, which has the hole-in-the-wall extract, but more importantly, it has the other tank locations as well as the air raid shelters. So I'm going to speed up this footage as we get across. Okay, so we're at the closed air raid shelter. Now, I went directly across the pond buildings. I don't necessarily think you should do that in raid. I did that because it was the quickest method for me to get over here. I would typically, when I'm in a raid, go along the back between the dome and the pond buildings, sort of using the rocks for cover from dome people and trying to use some of the bushes for cover from anybody who's in the pond buildings. But we're here on the first air raid shelter. Now this one is closed, so come down here, you'll see the doors are closed, so you can't do anything with this. Next up is a tank on the hill. Alright, now I believe that there is a spawn up here, yes. I never actually was able to get this in my own raids, but you can see here, spawn was up here. And then around, typically, I will look, see if there is something. Now we're going to hit the next air raid shelter. This one is open. Typically take a look here. You can see ammo can spawn. I will check the top of the crate. I will check this table. I will check these crates. Check this crate. And then I will get out. Next, we're going to hit the tank placement that doesn't have a tank, just has miscellaneous things. There is a jacket here, which if you're still looking for some keys, you could hit this jacket on the shovel. There's also a bag here. Usually there's some loose food spawns, either on these on this tarp or on the table that is next to the bag, right here, typically on the corner. The reason I come by here is I'm been told that there can be a tank battery spawn right next to this crate. I have never seen it. So your mileage may vary, but you have to come by that area anyway in order to check the final 2 tanks, so it's worth doing that. Typically behind here, nothing here this time. Again, this is an offline raid. Then there's this tank that's in the middle of the road that has the dead body behind it with a sheet over it. So here you see there's a ammo spawn. Just look around. Another ammo spawn here, but it could spawn a shell, so check it. And then the final tank is here. So again, for reference, those are the K buildings, the dilapidated train station. There is Dome. This is the last tank location. Again, would typically spawn here in the back. Nothing here in this offline raid. And then right there is the heating pipe extract. So if you're doing this as a scav, then you had that extract, and you just keep going and you could do that extract there. Okay, so that's it for the visual run-through of the map. I want to talk about keys next. Alright, so I'm used 4 keys in that run-through, but I'm not sure I recommend those 4 keys, and here's why. Out of those 4 rooms, there was only actually one room that gave me repeated success, and that was the armory that used the RBST key. Now, I'm filming this on June 21st, 2020, and we're about 3.5 weeks into the 12.6 wipe. From a cost perspective, this key right now is very affordable. It's around 200,000 rubles. And I definitely think it's worth investing, not just for this task, but if you hit reserve in general. There are a lot of good weapon spawns in that room, and definitely recommend it. For the other rooms, I think it really depends on how much you want to spend. If you take a look at the price, RB13, which was the first room on the bottom floor of the repair center, the first repair center we looked at, is currently going for between 550 and 590,000 rubles. That's a lot of money to get into that room. Your return on investment, even forget this task, it's going to take a while for you to pull enough value out of that room to make up for that key. Similarly, the MP21, which is the second floor on the other one, it's really cheap, but it's also a fairly high traffic area. So, you're going to run into people in that building hitting that room because it has a lot of other valuable pieces in it. So, while the key itself isn't that expensive, I do find it's a choke point getting into that room. And as such, I'm not sure that I would recommend it. And then the final room, which is MP22, is currently going for almost $1 million. And again, it's a high traffic area. I don't know that I would recommend hitting it. I mean, if you're, got a lot of rubles and you really want to get into it, then go right ahead. But it's a very expensive key right now. And I would, suggest that you don't need it. I really think the only key you need is the RBST. And like I said, I had success with getting tank battery just as a loose spawn outside of any of those rooms in the first repair bay on the table. So I think, again, before you just go and blow, which is probably close to 2 million rubles for keys, take a hard look, decide if you really need it. Like I said, I don't think personally it was worth the investment. I did it because I wanted to get the task done, but in hindsight, I probably would have been just fine with the RBST. I did pull 2 tank shells and 1 tank battery out of that room using the key. So again, I do think it's worth it. I hope this video helped you as you work on getting the regulated material task done. If you like this video, I would appreciate a like. It helps me not only know that there's the content is working, but also it'll help get more views on this video. So I would appreciate a like. If you have any comments, please leave your thoughts below. I do stream on Mixers Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 7:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central. So if you have any questions on this task or other tasks, feel free to stop on by. Also, you can get me on Twitter at Reglar10, and you'll get notified when I go live. We also have a Discord community. You're welcome to join it, ask questions there. The link for that is in the description. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching.